VH1.
It seems to me we painted ourselves into little areas, and we say, well, this is what I believe in, and I don't care what you think, but you're wrong and I'm right, you know. And I think we have to stand back a little bit and try and be more aware of the other person's feelings, points of view, whatever. Become aware of this more recently, that a lot of people out there maybe feel a lot of the things that maybe I say and other people say in songs, but they feel that their voice isn't important, and so they don't bother to say anything because no one's ever asked them. I think some people are just sort of, as long as they can get from A to B and from B to A with, you know, with the minimum of fuss, they kind of think that all that other stuff out there is not really meant for them, that doesn't really involve them. So I think we all have a responsibility to talk about it. I don't think my song is going to change anything, but what it can do is actually maybe jog people into thinking, you know, this bothers me, does it bother anybody else? And then someone will say, yes, excuse me, it bothers me, hello. And then someone will say, yes, it bothers me as well, I thought I was the only person, you know, and then suddenly everybody sort of says yes, and then you're mad as hell, you open your window and you shout you're not going to take it anymore, and something might better be changed.
All along he was fighting for you, and he didn't even know your name.
I just think that it's extraordinary, really, in this day and age especially. I mean, it's barely... It's understandable in the medieval periods. You know, I mean, in medieval times when people got hung, drawn and quartered for religious beliefs that were different from everybody else, or the Spanish Inquisition. But in this day and age, the fact that people are still dying because they believe in a different God from the other person's belief in a different God seems to be quite incredible.
And I don't know why don't we keep holding on? I don't know why, pretending to be oh so strong. Oh, why is there something I don't know? Something very wrong with you and me, or maybe.
He asked me to sing on his last solo record, which was then upcoming, and I did. I sang on a song called That's Just the Way It Is, and Another Day in Paradise, which turned out to be the single. And in the course of doing that, we got to be friends. He's really an unusual guy.
She calls out to the man on the street. He can see she's been crying. She's got blisters on the soles of her feet. She can't walk, but she's trying.
Another Day in Paradise kind of wrote itself to some extent. I didn't really set out to write a song that was going to end up being such an important song in terms of people's association with the homeless, or my association with the homeless. But I guess they'd come from images that I'd, you know, accumulated in my mind, one of which was from Washington, when we arrived in Washington and we were driving to the hotel from the airport. And there was all these people asleep in the snow. And I said, what is this, some kind of demonstration? And the driver said, oh, no, they live here. When we went on tour and we started playing it, we started to get all the shelters from the different countries and cities that we were playing in all over the world to come in and stand there with their buckets and sort of get donations on the way in and on the way out. And then we raised quite a lot of money for them. So that kind of became a commitment, and the next tour will be an ongoing, carrying on the same thing.
Es gibt zu viele Dinge, die wir für selbstverständlich halten. Aber viele Menschen in der Welt haben nichts oder wenig. Ich würde Sie bitten, diese Menschen zu unterstützen.
On my serious tour, we played in Berlin just after the war, well, as the war was coming down, really, but just as the excitement had reached sort of, in Germany itself, had reached kind of extraordinary heights. But mixed with an open-air 17,000 of Berliners that were really, really into it. I mean, they sort of, 17,000 people all waving their arms and just doing They couldn't have done better if I'd have asked them to do it. I mean, it was just extraordinary. And we actually managed to get it on tape, so that's definitely the best live performance stuff we've ever done.
I was in England this afternoon. Funny old world, isn't it? Well, this is the other song that I know on the piano.
I was on tour with No Jacket Required, and Sting had got in touch and said, hey, do you fancy doing something together in London? Because, you know, there's this big show coming up. And I said, that sounds like a good idea. So we rehearsed for that show at the end of my tour, and then someone said, well, it is, in fact, what I'd said was that I'd like to play drums with someone. You know, is there anybody there in England that wants me to play drums with them? And there wasn't, really. And all my friends were over the other side of the Atlantic playing on the American one. So then the promoter, Harvey Goldsmith, who was doing the English part, said, you realise that it is possible to do both?
He did?
Flew over on the Concorde.
No kidding!
The only man that's gonna play both sides of the concert.
That is unbelievable!
Unbelievable, isn't it?
So I said, okay, well, I'm not the only one that's doing it though, right? I didn't want to show off, you know what I mean? Well, I got to the airport, and of course there was nobody else there. Duran hadn't played in London, so they were over there with Power Station already. And so I got on a plane, and from then on it was just a logistic exercise.
And that is Phil Collins arriving at JFK Airport, and in just a little while he's going to arrive right here at JFK Stadium in Philadelphia.
I just got up, got the kids breakfast, and then got in the car, dropped them off at my mum's place, and we came to Wembley, and I did a few songs with Sting. I did a couple of songs, the same songs I just then. I only know 2 songs. I wanted to come and play with Eric.
Rushed into Clapton's caravan and said, well, what are you playing? They said, well, give me a list of songs, and I rushed over to Robert Plant's, who actually, Robert, when I was on tour with No Jacket Required, Robert had said to me, can you get me on the Live Aid show? So I said, I don't think you really need me to get you on, bring Bill Graham. He said, well, how about you, me, and Jimmy Page doing something? So I said, well, that sounds great. Anyway, between that moment and actually the concert, it became a Led Zeppelin reunion. There was a kind of malevolence in the air, should I say. And anyway, life was made a little bit awkward because they'd been rehearsing, because of the second coming of the Led Zeppelin reunion, they'd been rehearsing with Tony Thompson on drums from the Power Station. And suddenly I felt like the odd man out, and so when I went on stage with them, actually, I just didn't, suddenly I realised I shouldn't have been there. So if you actually watch it again, you'll see me quite often playing, sort of holding my sticks up in the air to try and get out of the way of everybody and then coming back down and play. It's kind of very eerie.